So what we're doing this video on here is, I need the gloves, it is that cold. Not a big fan of winter. I've got this, I was doing some lasering recently and I was trying to laser some leather, which actually came out pretty well. I was really pleased with it. And then my friend showed me this fake leather from Trotec, and as you can see, it's got a different coloured backing to the front. So the idea of this is that you laser through the front, and then the red will come through, showing through the silver. They do this in lots of different colours. They've got this in loads of colours on their site. They've got a brown with like a blue coming through, or it might be a black with a blue coming through. It's about 5 different ones to choose from. You get it in a pretty big sheet, look. So it's a pretty big size. I think you get 3 pieces of this per package. Trotec very generously sent this out for me to test to see how I get on with it. So thank you very much to Trotec for sending this out. I'm going to give this a go, see how we get on. They also do other wide range of materials. So this is one of their sample sets for their acrylics. These are their gloss acrylics. They've got some nice colours in there. This is just one set of their acrylics. They have, I mean, that's a pretty nice silver in there. And acrylic does cut really well on the laser. I actually find acrylic cuts better than wood, to be honest. But that's just one of their sample sets. You know, you can show that to your customer. You've got absolutely tons of colours to choose from, and then they've got something like 4 more different sample sets for different other shades and types of acrylic. So this is the one I've got, and there's some nice colours in there that hopefully I'll be using in the future. But we're going to give this a try. Yeah. So what I'm going to have to do is run some samples. Probably, I don't know, 6-10 squares, little squares that I can engrave with different powers to see what sort of power I need to just bring the red through without actually going too far through the material. Because it's quite thin, obviously I'm not going to sit it directly on the supports. What I'm going to do is, when I use thin material normally, like when I do the rubber stamps, I sit the rubber on top of a piece of thick wood, a nice bit of flat plywood, and then I set the focus to the material. It just keeps it nice and flat. So I'll probably trim a piece of this out just for the setting up, and I'll set that on a piece of wood. So let's make up the file, do some squares, different powers, and then we'll see how that goes. So here we are in a laser cut 5.3, and what I've done is some 5mm by 5mm squares. So here's all my squares, and then what I've done is, all you have to do is in laser cut, each square we set out with a different colour. So it's basically like your layers in Photoshop, etc. So each colour to each square. Then what you get over here on the right hand side is you get all your colours, and each one can have a different setting. You can have a different power, different speed. You've got your engrave, cut engrave, grade engrave, and hole. So we're obviously just going to go with engrave, and I'm going to set each one of these to a different power and speed. What I'm going to do is I'll set probably about 4. I'll set probably about the top line at one speed, same speed but different powers, and then I'll set the bottom ones at a different set of speeds with similar matching powers, because generally when it comes to engraving, your speeds, it's not gonna waver too much. I've got a sort of standard set of speeds that I use for rubber engraving and wood engraving, etc. Generally just comes down to what power your machine is. Now mine is a 80 watt CO2 laser. So I'll set these up, and then we can turn that into a file and send it over to the laser. Right, so there we go. I've done all the speeds. What I've done here is we've got the my standard engraving speeds are 360mm a minute or 400, depending on what material it is. So the first lot we can see is 360 with the power ascending. So starting at 10, it goes all the way up to 70, I think, on the first line. No, it goes up to 80 on the bottom line, sorry. So the first line we got to 70. Next line of blocks, we start at 400 engraving speed, and then we go from 20% power up to 80. So that way we can now see which power is gonna, without burning too far through, is going to give us a nice impression of the red from behind. So I use it on immediate start pretty much at the moment, which means rather than this is the bed here, so my bed is 1 meter by 600 high, 1 meter wide. It's a pretty big bed. Rather than placing it on the bed where you want it to laser, if you tick the immediate button down the bottom here, it will just start lasering wherever it is that you leave the head. So that's kind of the option I've been going with at the moment. So we're going to go with immediate download. It tells us that's the file we've got in there currently, so we're going to delete that one. Just going to download this one straight over the top of it, basically. So that has now been sent to the machine. Let's go over to the machine. So that will have actually come over to the machine, and then I've already set up the focus on this, and like I said, I've got it on a thick bit of wood there. And what you can do is, if we push the test button, you never have enough hands, I need to sort stands out. Push the test button, it'll show us where it's going to laser. So tiny, they're only tiny little 5mm by 5mm. So let's run that and let's see what we first one's going to be very low power. I've got a feeling it is going to be very low power. I don't think we're going to need much power to bring that red through. In fact, that's already looking pretty good. So I think once we start bumping up to sort of higher powers, 50% or more, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually go completely through the material. So I'm going to leave that going, and then we will take a look in a minute, see how it's coming out. So it's actually looking like we need virtually no power at all. I mean, once you've got past that first square, so that first square bottom left is 400 speed, 20% power, and if anything, it's actually looking like we could possibly up the speed a little bit, or lower the power slightly more, because it takes absolutely nothing to go through this into the red. We're getting better. So after playing with the I put these strips on it because I could probably turn the air assist off, because it was blowing it a little bit, but these two are looking pretty damn good. Actually, what I've changed now is I've changed the Y gap spacing, so it's not actually just down to the power. It is quite, you've got to be quite precise with these settings, but that's looking pretty damn good to me. And I've spaced the Y gap apart, so it's doing a lot less lines now, and laser engraving a lot faster. So I'm pretty happy with the way these two have come out. Ignore that bottom bit, that was just where that little bit of label was. These two have come out pretty nice, and as you can see earlier, as soon as you get past what we're looking at, 30% power has already gone through. So this really will work on a really low powered laser. You could use this on a atom stack, you could use this on a diode laser, a little K40. You wouldn't need to have a very powerful laser to use this stuff. So what we're going to do is, now I'm pretty happy with those two, I'm going to take those two settings, one of them, probably the right one, this one here, and I'm going to actually turn that into a job. I've just sketched up a key ring, so I'm going to do a key ring. It's going to be two part, so it's my logo basically one side and the other. Then afterwards I can fold it up and stitch it together or glue it together, and let's give that a go. I'm currently in the middle of doing lots of other lasering, so I've got some discs on the go and another little project I'm working on over here. So let's bring this back up and we can have a look. So it was the bottom two squares, you can see. So I like this one best, and this one was the green. So that was 25% power, 400 speed, and if we open up this window here by double clicking, this shows us, look, we've got our speed, our power. I have bi-directional off. On this machine it certainly seems to work better with bi-directional off, so it's only engraving in one direction. It's not direct, it's not engraving backwards, it's just firing back, firing. And now that's a really big Y step, so 0.1 mil Y step. That's really big. You wouldn't normally have that. I wouldn't normally go that high. That brings the resolution down, but as you can see, that is what's achieved the sort of best results here. So we're going to try that on my keyring. So this is going to be the keyring here. Rookie error, why didn't you tell me I'd accidentally switched it from Engrave to cut? Tell you what though, look at that. That has certainly cut it nice. So I think I'll be using those settings for the exterior cut. Just cut through that nice. Yeah, that was a rookie mistake there. So right, let's try again. Figure let's leave the fail in there, show you it doesn't always go right first time. Put the strips on and adjust it again. Now, since you didn't tell me, I've changed it back to Engrave because I had accidentally clicked on cut on the green. Let's send that back over. Not stand there like a knob wondering what on earth it is doing. That's better. There it goes. Tiny little logos. So I'll make a note of these settings now. I keep a sort of settings page that I keep all my settings on for different materials. Now I sort of worked through and figured out what settings work for this. I'm really happy with that coming through like that. I'll now make a note of these settings and use them for the next time. Just about to finish the engrave and then we can cut through. Should be it. So as we can see, there it is, cut. I will going to glue that. I think I'm just going to glue that. I was thinking of sewing it, but I think I'm going to glue it. And obviously a Trotec laser would give you better results. That they are specifically were originally made for engraving, and they're bloody good at it, and fast as well. I think that's come out pretty nice. I'll glue that together and get a keyring loop through there, and that'll be my first test with this material, but I'll be looking to find other projects I can use this on in the future. So there we go, that's it glued together, and it's not going to win any awards, that's for sure, but it's just a simple keyring to show you what the material can do. Pretty pleased with that, it's come out pretty nice. Now, as you can see from my trampy gloves, it is cold, so I do have an excuse for forgetting that I had these. There's me telling you about all these materials, and this is the range. Look, so here's the Trotec Laser Leather, it's called. Let's get my tramp glove off, and there's, you got the black with the gold coming through. This is the one I like. I'm liking this colour. Like the sort of suede with the black coming through. Let's move that out of the way. They've got their part numbers there at the bottom if you wanted to order any from their website. So then we've got the brown with the orange. Oh, you know I need some of this. You know I need some purple. Purple with red. Look at that. Oh, black with the blue. Now that is pretty sexy. I'm liking that black with the blue coming through. And then last but not least is this one that I've used, which was the silver with the red. So some pretty nice colours there. I am liking that. There's a few I'd like there, to be fair. The black with the blue, the purple with the red, and also the sort of tan with the black. So that is their samples. That was my test of their product, and hope you like the video. I tried to keep it as short as possible because everybody's like me and they get bored very quickly. So I'll speak very quick to get the video finished very quick. And thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.